Good morning. Sci-fi films and movies and comic strips are incredibly popular. And the thing that I find so amazing about that, just as I've finished, I think, my third book, which is just about to come out, and it's all about gratitude, faith, and the power of prayer. And prayer can mean anything to anybody, and to me it means intentional living and deliberately aligning myself to masses that I don't completely understand but I experience to be true. And the reason why I'm talking about sci-fi movies and things is that one of the adventures of a life of intention or prayer is that you're going into the vortex of, in my understanding, one word, which is paradox. So there's a wonderful woman called Anne Shabani who edited and published one of my books called The Pain Paradox. She came up with this wonderful word, the paradox. And I want to do this third video all to do with the law of opposites, because the word paradox, and in a sense vortex, but in a good way, and even sci-fi, and the law of opposites, all is interconnected. Because the extraordinary thing about the law of opposites and the paradox of life is that in order to know peace, joy, happiness, love, tidiness, cleanliness, all sorts of things, we have to have exactly the opposite. It's in the midst of actually maybe coming home to a really dusty, grubby house where the carpets need hoovering, that it actually ignites in us without us even thinking of it, if we're relatively well. It ignites in us the desire to, in fact, have it be the opposite of what we've just been faced with coming through the door. So the paradox of life is that you are always actually seesawing between what I don't call conflicting emotions, but simultaneous emotional states, simultaneous seasonal shifts, and actually the rhythm of life within us. So you just have to be beside the sea and you'll see this constant rhythm that's going on. And we are in a constant rhythm. And we need to find and come to terms with the paradox right in the middle. So I'm going to see if I can give you another example. In Chinese medicine, your spirituality and your sexuality, as you mature, goes from being almost like separated items. So your spirit, you don't necessarily know anything about yet as you're maturing, and maybe you're getting the hang of your sexuality, and maybe you're having sex but it isn't quite making love necessarily. Whereas actually when you begin to mature, all of us, we actually have the opportunity to get our sexuality and our spirituality combined. And in Chinese medicine, every single organ and function begins to actually mature like a tree. And literally those two functions come together, and the energy through your body and through your spinal column actually begins to expand. And the reason why I use the example of a tree is because you begin to experience in your own unique way that there is a heavenly energy. So you are able to look up to the skies and see that there's more to just you, or more to you than your problems. You're not necessarily your body. There's something more going on. at the same time, your roots, like a tree, are going deeper and deeper as you begin to work out the paradox of life. So the paradox of pain was very clever name for Anne Shabani to choose. I don't take any credit for it at all. She chose the pain paradox because she understood what it was that I really wanted to do with my books and my courses, which fundamentally is to show and teach people that right in the middle of the challenges or the pain or the predicaments or the problems actually is our potential. So right in the midst of the things that we are taught to run away from actually is our own self-mastery, our own voyage into what I call, in a fun way, the vortex of actually awakening to what is possible, which is a lightness of being. So real vibrant health is not going into the gym every day. It's not going on a calorie controlled diet. It's not doing marathons. Integrated, vibrant, dynamic health is to discover inside you a lightness of being, so that every single challenge you have, every single problem you have, you almost automatically begin to go, oh, this is coming at me, happening to me because I can handle it. And it isn't necessarily about me, but it's giving me an opportunity to mature, just like that tree, and become more and more aware of the paradox and the law of opposites. So right in the middle of a problem is your potential, another layer of potential. Right in the middle of coming home when you're tired and exhausted and you'd love to come home to a tidy house, maybe you've had the children, the grandchildren, I don't know, your spouse, it doesn't matter whether it's your husband, your wife, the way you operate is you like coming home to a tidy place. However, you've come home to a bomb's hit it, children's clothes are all over the place. If you're lucky enough to maybe have a swimming pool, there are towels all over the place, or maybe you've got a imaginary swimming pool in your bath. You go, you want to have a bath, you want to switch off, and the bath is an absolute mess. There's soap all over the place, and you're just momentarily disgusted. Now, right in the midst of all of that, as you mature, you can find your humor. You can get your shoulders down, right in the middle of almost having the beginning of a temper tantrum. You can go, no, okay, this is exactly the paradox, the law of opposites. I can find a little bit more humor here, even though I'm exhausted, and I can just tidy up the bits I need to tidy up in order to have a bath, in order to get my sense of humor back properly, and then I ignite more lightness of being. And Bruce Lipton has joined up with Humanity's team, and there's a wonderful expression they've got at the moment, which is flourishing in chaos. So that is a really good phrase for the paradox of life. And there is so much going on in the world right now that is absolutely devastating. It's triggering in most human beings a level of almost depression, gloom, fear, anxiety, a sense of powerlessness. And yet, spiritually, and we are spiritual beings, we're not necessarily religious beings, but we are absolutely spiritual beings, which is why I began telling you about my life of intention. So prayer life to me is intentionally living with love in my heart. And love is what takes me through, sorry, I've got something in my eye, takes me through every single challenge that I have, having been born with some nasty medical conditions. But in the midst of them being quite nasty and challenging, actually they have given me the absolute certainty and the experiences of there being more than just this physical body. So if you want to just continue listening to me, please click the link below, become a YouTube subscriber for my podcast, and come and join us with these discussions where I interview amazing people. I interview really real people, very ordinary people that have become extraordinary, but they're not famous, they're not celebrities. And then I am also interviewing people that are famous out there and they haven't made a name for themselves, but we're all on the same path together and we all have our unique gifts and skills. But if you're feeling powerless right now in the middle of what's going on, then firstly, that is telling you what is right with you, okay? Because in the middle of feeling powerless, you can begin to be empowered, which is exactly the opposite. So it's back to constantly we feel powerless and we then feel empowered. And the people who tell you, as far as I'm concerned, that you can be peaceful all the time, you can be positive all the time, and you can arrive at a static state, in my humble opinion, and not telling you the energetic truth. That is the paradox of life. Take huge care, and I hope these are really serving you. And please make comments. And if there's particular subjects you want me to talk about, just ask me. Take care. Bye.